Gerry Kelly, Tony Blair made a statement in the House of Commons this week in relation to MI5. Can you tell us what has been achieved from that statement?
Well, as you know, there was long and drawn-out intensive negotiations over setting up the power-sharing institutions in policing. Key to this is the issue of MI5 or the British Security Services. They have a history in Ireland of having been involved in directing murder gangs, lawless murder gangs. They have been involved in everything, up to and including killing citizens. And there was, after St Andrews, the last set of negotiations, a document was published, or a statement was published, that intimated that MI5 were going to be embedded into the PSNI, in the crucial point at which we are at the moment in trying to get a new beginning to policing. This was a bombshell. So we had to reverse that position. What Tony Blair's statement does, after a prolonged negotiation with the British government, is reverse that so that MI5 will have absolutely nothing to do with civic policing. And in the history of the conflict in Ireland, where there was a force within a force in the PSNI and before that in the RUC, it is crucial for people to be able to have a service which serves the people, which is accountable to the people. And if MI5 was in it, that simply wouldn't be the case.
It was a pretty historic decision. It must have been intense negotiations leading up to a change from St Andrews to what is the case now.
Well, clearly there was. To achieve a civic beginning to policing, to achieve a police service which actually represents the people, is accountable to them and serves them. You cannot have a colonial grouping, and everybody knows the history of MI5. They've been involved in so many countries, they've been involved in so much dirty tricks, that you simply could not have a situation where, on the one hand, you negotiate accountability mechanisms through the patent recommendations, and then on the other hand allow the British to move in and wipe them or put them to the side and embed MI5 into civic police. And that's why it's so strange. Not so much that the Unionists agreed with this, because generally they agree with anything that the British state puts up, but that the Nationalist Party, like the SDLP, agreed to it, was very surprising to the nationalist people. And we had to really, I suppose, negotiate this on our own.
Also this week there was an announcement from Hugh Orde in relation to plastic bullets. Can you bring us up to speed as to what's happened with that?
Well, we again, this is an issue, if you like, a totemic issue in terms of what has happened over the last 30 years. Plastic bullets are a lethal weapon. They have been used by the Crown Forces, by the British Army, by the police force. 17 people have been killed by these. They claim that they're non-lethal. Clearly they're lethal, have been killed by these weapons. Over half of those were children. There has been a long, drawn-out campaign on these issues as well. We want these banned, and we haven't got to that point yet, but what we have managed to do in negotiations is bring it to another level, where it has been agreed, as you already said, very significantly, that it will not be used in crowd-control situations. And also, I think, perhaps most importantly, he has acknowledged that innocent people were killed through plastic bullets. And this is probably the first time for the families who have campaigned so long and hard, some of them up to 30 years on this issue. I think it was very important for them to hear the Chief Constable of a police force saying that this was the case, because it's probably the first acknowledgement they've got. They've never had it from British Prime Minister, they've never had it from a government minister, and here they have had it from the PSNI Chief Constable, and I think that in itself, an acknowledgement of the hurt, was, I think, a significant move forward in that. Now, we will continue to support the families, because the best way to handle this, and Hugh Orde said he never wants to use them again, but of course the best way to do that is to ban these plastic bullets altogether, and we will continue to do that. But as a step forward, I think it's a very substantial advance.